This is changing Brock's lower control arm.
Look at this.
Here's everything you should need. Impact, ratchet, vice grips, 15mm spanner, 14mm spanner, 19mm spanner, hammer for stubborn bolts, pry bar. Then you also got 21mm socket, 22mm socket, sorry, 19mm, 24mm, 13 and 14. No good, lad.
Cactus.
Cody Wampus. Got the old one out. Getting ready to put the new one in. If yours hasn't been changed before, you'll notice these longer studs here at the front. To get them out, you will have to trim them. I have to trim that one a bit more. But yeah, they will rub on that, so you will have to lob them off with the front end. But yeah, so I'll trim that up a bit more and we'll get this back in and then we'll do the other side.
Right. This is still the same video, it's just on a different car at the moment. Just thought I'd do a little bit extra explaining, so obviously too, WD-40 helps a lot. So once you get to this stage where the wheel's off, next you're going to take your 15mm, you're going to undo your 2 bolts in the back of the brake caliper. Should be there and there. As you can see too, my line is split. I'm getting pinched in between the XR6 brakes and the coilover, so we do have some extended braided ones on the way so we can run them behind the back of the coilover to avoid this issue. So when they get here, I'll probably do a video on putting those in. I did order them 2 weeks ago, so hopefully they should be here today. Yeah. Back to the lower control arm, so we're going to whip this off and then I'll show you the next step. Right, now that you've got your rotor and caliper off and out of the way, next thing you're going to want to do is crack this bolt off, take it out completely and pop the upper arm off so you can remove the knuckle, because you'll need to get onto that fella and also that fella. And another thing, when undoing the brakes, these 15mm bolts at the back, you can't get a power tool on it, you have to use a ratchet. And you don't have enough leverage because it's tight. If you didn't know, just use your jack handle on the end of the ratchet. That'll give you a bit of extra leverage. And when you're taking the bolts out of the brakes or anything like that, it pays just to Loctite them when you're putting them back in a little bit. It's because obviously there's a lot of vibrations going on, you don't want them coming loose on you. We've come across a bit of an issue which I didn't have yesterday on Brock's Jeep, but I do have on my Jeep, which when I'd done the right hand side I already ran into this problem, so I already had this lined up. But you might need one of these tools, which is a ball joint popper, separator, whatever you want to call it, because sometimes they're a bit stiff to get out. So put them in there like that there, and then give you ratchet or your ugger-dugger on the end of that and shoot it. Pop that off. So now that we got our tie rod and ball joint out, we now move this around. It makes it a lot easier to try and knock that fella off. If you can't get this to separate by hitting the top of it, and always leave your nut up there so you don't mushroom your threads or anything like that. The next step will be, because this popper here isn't quite big enough with this long thread to get up there. So what we're going to do to combat that is I'm just going to cut the thread down with the grinder so I can get that on and pop it off. If you're not confident, obviously don't do it. And when you are grinding, make sure you're careful with your rubber lines and sparks, because they can melt a hole through it and burn it. But the reason I don't really like doing that, cutting it up, is because our new lower control arm, stay heavy, a brand new thread, and there's enough kicking around this one. I'm not worried about that. But now your knuckles out of the way, and check the lower ball joint. This one here is still a bit firm, so that's not actually that bad. But the main ones, I'm changing it for these front ones because they're shagged out. Yeah, so now that that's off, you can get your sway bar a bit easier, undo the linkage,
going to pop your sway bar down as well. And you're going to want to take these strut bolts out, so your struts out of the way. Another thing to remember is when you take all of this apart, obviously you got to take your caliper and your rotor off, and your caliper will probably sit over this side. Make sure to pull it back through here first before you do that up. Otherwise, you will not get your caliper through there and you will struggle, and it's a pain in the ass, so you have to undo that again. So when you get to doing this step up, make sure the caliper is on this side of the car. See the arms, these are the old ones. Cattywampus, them ones are. But she's all done now. Not bad. Only took a couple of hours because I had a rough idea of what I was doing already because I've done it before. But if you're new to it and you haven't done it before, I would definitely suggest doing it over the weekend and having someone possibly there with some knowledge to help out if you need it. Yeah, that's all.